Good night. Blessings. Good night, my lovely people, and welcome back to another episode of the All Over It podcast. Tonight, July 27th, 2026, episode 65. Yeah, episode 65. Everyone has a story worth telling. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Everyone has a story worth telling. I'm here to tell you that your voice has value. Yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today. God bless. But yeah, as you know, another week, another episode, like they say, another day, another dollar. Yeah. And I just want to take this time to show appreciation. Thank you for your support, you know, like even specifically on last week's episode about brand awareness, where the title was If Nobody Sees You, Nobody Could Pay You. Yeah. But yeah, so I get some good feedback from last week's episode. People reach out to me. I had some good conversations, good responses, encouraging, you know, and some exciting conversations since last week's episode. So yeah, God bless. God is good and He always in the midst of all things. But yeah, like I say, last week's episode 64, was all about brand awareness, getting yourself known, the importance of a brand, and why a brand is important. Like, literally, think on any brand name that you like, anything you like to buy, have a brand behind it. Think on why, what make you decide, yeah, you like that brand, or when it comes to that type of product, once you see that brand, you know it's good. Yeah, think on why is that. Last episode, we break that up. And like I say, I really gotta give appreciation to, you know, the viewers, the people who reach out afterwards and had feedback and comments regarding the topic. It was really positive. So yeah, like I say, I gotta give thanks. But yeah, I got something exciting I want to share with you later in today's episode. But yeah, I'll leave it for the end. But yeah, before I tell you about that, I gotta get into the topic of today. Check. And like I say, today's topic is about your story. Today's episode is entitled Everyone Has a Story Worth Telling. Everyone's story is valuable. Your voice has value. You check? Some people might feel like, yeah, who is me? Nobody ain't gonna want to hear what I do or what I did or have to do. But you'll be surprised. Blessings, TM Jonathan. Blessings, appreciate you for joining, my brother. Overload. Check. But yeah, like I said, today's episode is about your story and your voice and why it matters. So to dive right into it, everyone has a story. Every single person on the face of this earth. Okay? Have you ever met someone and thought, I never knew you went through all of that? Think about it. Have you ever met someone that you thought to yourself, I never knew you experienced all of that in your life? Everyone has, let's say, victories, things they overcame, has failures, things they wish they did differently, mistakes, disappointments, let's say lessons, life lessons, dreams, even experiences that maybe someone else never had but wants to, you know. Many of those stories never get told. Why? Because every person, they feel like, yeah, you have to be famous or you have to be a celebrity or you have to have thousands of people following you or viewing you. But you'll be surprised. Every person you meet knows something you don't know and probably has lived through something you haven't lived through. So even if they're not famous or celebrity, their voice has value. Check, your story has value, so your story has value. A lot of people, they often keep their stories to themselves because they feel like nobody would care about what I have to say, or nobody would care about what I've been through. Like I say, they tell themselves, I'm not successful enough. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. So who would care about what I have to say, about what I've been through, my experience? You know, some people even feel for themselves like, I still figuring things out. I still trying to figure out life. But even some people, they, I'll say, diminish themselves and say, I haven't achieved enough, And at the end of the day, I would like to challenge that thinking. You'll be surprised. Sometimes the most value, sometimes the most valuable lessons come from people who are still on a journey or people who you least expect, not only those who have made it, you know. So, like, think on maybe a time in your life that you was going through something and maybe you've been going through it for a while and maybe one day you just went to the least expected place and somebody just say something that made you think to yourself, yo, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Think about it. Think about it. Like I say, sometimes the most valuable lessons come from people who are still on a journey, not only those who have made it. So like I say, some people doubt themselves, some people tell themselves, I can just keep my story to myself because nobody's gonna care. I'm not successful enough. I still figuring it out. But like I say, your story has value. Even maybe if you don't see it, somebody else might. Like I say, it could be that you think for yourself, you still figuring it out, or you haven't done enough. But maybe something you've been through in life would be helpful for somebody else. Maybe an experience that you've been through and how you overcame it would be just what that other person needed to hear for them to overcome what they're experiencing. So a lot of times we diminish ourselves or diminish our story. But like I said, your story has value. Even when you think what you have to say is not important, you'll be surprised. It could be just those few words that's helpful to one other person or many. You never know. So you don't have to be famous for your story to matter. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to have a million followers or have subscribers or people viewing your content, thousands of people on your page or in your, real life coming to you. You don't have to be that for your story to have value. So the thing is, what people don't realize, stories teach what facts can't. So a lot of times when we think on teaching, we think on somebody up in front just giving information, telling you, okay, do this, do that. But if we had to compare information with experiences, it's a different thing because facts tell us what to do, but stories show us how someone actually did it. So when you share a story, when somebody gives you a testimony, when you go on a website and you see a review, that's someone's experience. That's different from, okay, yeah, this going to do this and that and that. You know? So, like I say, a lot of times we look at, okay, yeah, we say maybe you do a class and we expect, okay, yeah, the person can just go up and tell us, okay, this is the first step, this is the second step. But when you personalize it, when you give that presentation life, it changes things. People remember stories because it creates a connection. A lot of times they see their self and they resonate to it because they feel like they could relate, you know? So that's why when you go to an event or when you go to any place, you remember the experience. You remember how it made you feel, what you saw, not just, okay, yeah, the person went up, they do this, they do that. Like when you tell it back, you can tell it back as a story. Yeah, I went to this place and it had this people and these people and it had this artist and you know the place was full. You'll give a full explanation, a full story so people could visualize, like people could feel like they was right there with you. That's the difference between a story and just giving facts, just telling theory that say, just reading off like, okay, yeah, this is what it is, this, that. You know, when you give a story, people feel connected to you and what you're saying. And it's a powerful thing. So, for instance, when you start a business, a lot of times nowadays, when people start a business, they record, they videotape the journey, they videotape the process from when they started and the hurdles they have to go through to get things done and how things are going, maybe weekly updates, daily updates. These things create a connection with your viewers and your customers, and people feel connected to you. They feel like they could relate to you, or they like your story and what you're doing. And because of that, they want to support you, you know, like anything, anything you do, you could just tell people how to do it, yes. And they're gonna probably take the information. But if you share your experience, if you share your story about that, people resonate more deeply with it and people connect with that, and they create a sense of community, like a sense of, like I keep saying connection, but like it become like a family, like a community, like togetherness, bottom line, you know? So it could be anything. It could be anything. Maybe you start investing and you show people by, look, I decide I want to invest, and right now I don't have much money to do it, but I can start with what I have. And okay, what I have right now is $14, and you show people, okay, well, I can invest it, and you take it from there. Over time, stay consistent, you show people, okay, this is how it's going. People become invested, they become interested, and that creates a connection, and they feel like a part of your family. They feel like a brother or sister to you. And because of that, they either support you, or they refer people to you, or they just resonate with you and they see what you're doing. And because of that, your story, like I say, could create connections, could bring growth for you, for your, let me say, your business, your finances, all kind of different things. Just because you decided, you know what? I don't have to be famous. I don't have to be a celebrity for my story to be valuable. I can start sharing what I'm doing now, and who like it, who view it, appreciate that. That's good. But I'm doing it just to show like, yeah, I'm doing it. And you'll be surprised how far you reach, you know? You see, look, exactly. Lessons, Ray. Appreciate you for joining. Just like Ray said, you know, basically, in a summary, he said, just do your thing. Yeah, just do your own thing. You check, do what you're doing, keep pushing. Everybody, everybody nowadays so caught up and just be so worried about, yeah, what other people doing. And in this, in the podcast, calling for people to invest in your thing. I say job about after. I really understand what you're saying. But yeah, like I say, a lot of times, a lot of people, they spend so much time sitting down talking or thinking about what other people doing. Like, yeah, look, this person doing this, and look, this person gone here and doing that, doing this. instead of focusing on what they're doing and what they could do. And like like I say, you'll be surprised. Your voice has value. Maybe you don't see it right now, but you what you doing might be more interesting to people than those videos and pictures and things that you watching on social media, other people doing and living life or faking life, let me say. A lot of those things you see on the internet nowadays too is just people doing things for views, like fake, so at least you live in a real life. That's a good start. So like I say, a lot of us feel like, man, why doing it? I mean, important. Nobody gonna care. And why look what this next person doing on social media? They are in helicopters or flying in private jets and things. So who gonna want to hear or who gonna care about what I have to say when they could go and watch that? But you'll be surprised. Like I say, maybe what exactly you doing is what somebody out there want to hear. And then it might have thousands of people that want to hear that. And now you have a name. You check? Just sharing your story. You could become a thought leader in your space, meaning if you have a specific topic you choose that you want to talk about, maybe something that you experience in life or something that you notice need advocating, you know, you start sharing about it, talking about it and thing. And like I say, you stay consistent every however often you decide. You post about it, you talk about it, you share things about it. After a little while, people are gonna be checking, okay, anytime I need to know anything about that, I can come look for you. And you yourself wouldn't even know. I notice probably. Maybe for you, you can just say for yourself, okay, yeah, I get some more views, but you will be surprised. It may have people somewhere in the world, maybe not even in your country, telling somebody else, but yeah, okay, if you want to know more about that, you could check out this person page because they just talk about that all the time. It happens on social media and thing, especially with how social media is. You could post a reel, you could post a shot, and you got people all over the world, people in Africa, people in China, people in Australia and thing commenting and sharing your things because what? Your voice has value, your story has value. Check? Yeah, yeah, exactly. You gotta stop by talking other people, you know? Gotta stop by talking other things when someone doing the thing, because you don't know what all they went through to reach there, so gotta respect it, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that you go through to get where it is. But yet they always want to bad talk you and feel like, yeah, you don't deserve it, or yeah, what you do together, or all those, I'll say, nonsense. But like I say, they don't know. They wasn't there. Like Rick Ross got his line. No, I think is No, yeah, it's Rick Ross with Drake. He say, yeah, he wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Check straight up, like, you want to be there when everything nice and sweet and we up, but he wasn't there when things was down. But anyways, I digress a little bit. But either way, it's like I say, your story is important. And what people don't realize is, yeah, you could teach something, you could teach facts, but stories different. Stories teach what facts can't, which is experience. Yeah, my experience different from your experience, and like experience is a powerful thing because your experience different from my experience totally. And we could go through the same thing and have a different story or different perspective of it. Same exact situation or event. You check? Like, this is why your story is valuable. This is why everybody has a story. Everyone has a story worth telling because you might feel like, yeah, well, that other person went through the same thing. They was there with me and they could speak better than me. So I can leave them tell the story. But maybe the way how they tell the story is not how you would tell the story. Maybe their perspective of how things went was different from yours. Like, it's a funny thing now. It's a funny thing because, like, like they tell your perspective, depending on where you're standing, you might see the same thing different. Like they have the experiment with people standing around an elephant and they could not tell that it was an elephant because of where they were standing. One person say one thing, next person say the next thing. Anyways, like perspective is a powerful thing, something that we does underestimate a lot. And like I say, a lot of times we feel like, yeah, okay, well, that next person was there, so I can leave them tell it because they know it better than me, or they see better, or they could talk better, or they could express themselves better. But like I say, you'll be surprised. Your story has value. Your story is worth telling as well. How much? Okay, this here's the best example. Like I say, different people go through the same experience, the same event, let me say, and they tell it differently. So, example, let me say they got people that write books, but then they write books on the same topic, but yet the book's selling. You check. So let me say let me say if we choose a topic, let me say person A write a book about finance and investing. But then person B, maybe 5 years later, write a book about finance and investing. But yet both of them become bestsellers, both of them sell millions of copies, and it's the same topic. Why? Perspective. Different, different angle, different view, different perspective, different way of seeing things, different approach to viewing it. You know? Like I just say, all the things we go through in life make us the person we are, and the experiences, whether traumas, whether good times, bad times, make us who we are and make us think how we just think, and that we say love how we the love and hate how we the hate, and just do the things we just do how we just do it. And this is why our story has value, because what you been through somebody else ain't been through. Even if they been through the same experience, they ain't been through it like you. So like I say, people would be writing books about the same thing. Let me say maybe let me use an event. Let me say maybe not to turn things on a bad note, but let me say we think about like the story of the Titanic, or maybe even like 9/11 or something, like one of those tragic events. Even let me say the Holocaust and Hitler and those things. Like they had the story of, I want to say it's Anne Frank, as a lady that was stuck in the rooftop for a good while when they had the concentration camps. I want to say Anne Frank, why? If I call it wrong name, if I, Anne Frank is somebody else, by sorry. But yeah, look, perspective, because she write a story, she write her book about her experience during those times. But then somebody else write a book about those times too. But then because they was in a different place and they see different things, their story was different. But it's the same experience, it's the same event. It could have been the same day and all, but because maybe one was on the beach and one was in a house, the book come out totally different. You check? Like, yeah, man. That's why I'm trying to show you. Like I say, you might tell yourself, by look how much people was there when I went through that, so I can leave one a day tell it instead of me. Or like like I say, maybe some people would tell themselves, diminish themselves and say, yeah, well, I can't really talk so good, or I can't really write so good, so I ain't even gonna try. I'm gonna just leave somebody else do it and they're gonna do it better than me. But what you see is not what they see. What you hear is not what they hear. And what you experience out of that was different from their experience. Why? Because all the things we've been through make us who we are. So, like I say, people don't realize how powerful perspective is, but it's a really powerful thing. Ah, okay, okay, okay. No problem. Blessings. Appreciate you. And condolences. Yeah. But yeah, so like I say, your voice has value. Your voice is very valuable. And what you have to say is very powerful. It could be very useful for somebody out there. And you diminishing yourself, you telling yourself, why nobody ain't want to hear what I gotta say. Nobody ain't gonna value. Nobody ain't gonna care. I ain't do nothing. Even though I went through that experience, I ain't do nothing. Like, I got people write books about, let me say, like overcoming traumatic experiences, maybe a passing of a family member, or like going through let me say like a hurricane or natural disaster, and how they experience it. And people just read those things or listen to those things or value those things. Why? Because maybe they never been through it and they want to understand or see and get an understanding of how it'll be. So like I say, maybe you've been through hurricane and flooding and house damage and gotta fend for yourself in maybe a closet or a bathroom and the roof gone and you don't know how you're gonna survive, but you make it. And you tell yourself, all right, man, we are customer that man, hurricane the past all the time and that was just a big one, you know? But like I say, maybe you write a book about that and millions of copies sell because millions of people checking buy. I wonder how it would be to survive a hurricane. I wonder, or even if we want to be more specific, let me be more specific. Let me say, like, for people who live in St. Martin, big up St. Martin one time, always. You went through Hurricane Irma. For us here in St. Martin, we are customer hurricane. We had Hurricane Lewis. We had enough hurricanes in between. But you experience Hurricane Irma. And you tell yourself, well, you know what? Nobody gonna want to hear about my experience. But like I say, I talk to certain people and they literally tell me, like, yeah, they check in, they was going to stay in their house, they end up going by somebody else, and the roof come off there, and they end up having to go in the closet because not even a bathroom was safe. So they in the closet, they have to tie the closet door with a belt and hold the belt inside the closet as the hurricane is passing and ragging up and just making a mess of the place. Tell me that in a story that you were reading and checking while like you could imagine that after I just tell you that. Tell the truth. Like and I telling you, some people might watch and or might think to themselves, man, nobody ain't gonna want to care about what I went through in Hurricane Irma or how things was during Hurricane Irma or these different things. But you'll be surprised. They maybe have people all over the world. Let me say maybe in Europe or America or all over the world that maybe knew about what happened during Hurricane Irma. Maybe they know about St. Martin and they knew how devastated St. Martin get from Hurricane Irma and they now see what a book about Hurricane Irma and St. Martin. I can buy that. I can read that. I want to know. Your story has value. Everyone has a story worth telling. You check. Look, people write books about 9/11, surviving 9/11. Bestsellers, millions of copies sold. Why? Because, like, not just the fact that people want to know about those things, like, they have people that like stories too. Like, just like, I want to say fiction, but like, those type of like drama or traumatic event stories and thing. And, sometimes they like it fictional, but sometimes some people like real story, like based on true events type thing. So they got somebody out there for all of us. Like they tell you, they got somebody for all of us. Like relationship wise. They say, yeah, they got somebody out there for everybody, you know. They got people out there that would resonate deeply with your story. Like I noticed in a reflection I had, let me put it like that. I thought to myself that God have a funny way of bringing your tribe to you. I say it like that, but meaning like God have a funny way of allowing your people to find you, you know, and maybe you might be traversing life all alone for a long time, but then you'd be surprised. A day might come, you might meet somebody, and then maybe months down the line, you won't even realize that, whoa, you just meet this person and look how close we get in this short space of time, you know? And yeah, just time and perspective is a powerful thing, you know? And like I say, we might diminish our story, we might diminish what we've been through, but we really had to think about it or try to say, okay, let me try to do something with this. You'd be surprised how well it would do, you know? Like, let me say on that point, it's a very powerful thing in conversation. You know, the power of conversation. One conversation can open a door. One conversation can change your career. You check? One conversation can inspire you, can inspire a business idea, could inspire you to make a certain move in life that is positive or beneficial to you and your family, or you know, one conversation can open a door, can solve a problem. Telling you, even better yet, one conversation can create a partnership, whether it be business wise, whether it be relationship wise. One conversation, maybe you was in the right place at the right time, you meet the right person, and now down the line, are you making money together, or are you decide to make a life together, or all these different things. It starts with one conversation. Maybe you decide, you know what, let me go buy some food there, quick come back. And you meet a lovely young lady and you start talking to her, and now a few months down the line, you check it not gonna be your wife. One conversation. Maybe you in a certain industry, maybe you do a certain type of work, and you decide for yourself, you know what, I got this event coming up. Let me go to it. Let me see what I could hear, see what I could learn. Even though I'm an expert in the field, let me see what they're gonna have to say. You know, so even those people that have some people reluctant checking by, I don't want to go to this event. I know all this stuff already, but you know what, I can still go. Let me see what I could hear. Let me see what I could get. Maybe some of them even just thinking, yeah, let me go get the food and the drinks. But you might go and then you bump into somebody you don't know. Could be somebody you know too, but let me just say somebody you don't know, and start having a conversation. Maybe they didn't know you, but you's a big person in that field in the sense of like you're doing good things and you have a good reputation. And now because of that one conversation, let me say maybe you got different contracts now that you got money locked in, your business on a good trajectory. Or maybe I have a conversation and now you see how I could do a project together, work together on something, collaborate. All these things is things that one conversation could spark or ignite, you know? Trust me, I could think of numerous examples personally, in my own experiences. But like think about things like going conferences, or like I say, going to events. Maybe they have like little seminars or certification courses, and your topic, or like I say, in your work field, whatever industry or type of work you do, you know, maybe they have some speaker talking about something you're interested in. Go see, yeah, listen. You never know. Or even if you have like a mentor, somebody that like you look up to, that has advised you, that has helped guide you in life, all these things is powerful. Conversation can be so powerful in helping you, helping guide your life, helping your life go down a positive route, a positive road, for you to be on a good journey, you know, things going positively, not down the drain, you know. So, like I say, one conversation could open a door for you, a door that you maybe didn't even know how to open, a door that you didn't even know was closed. You check? Yeah. Maybe you've been having a problem forever, for months, years, and maybe you've been telling it to people or talking to people about it, but no matter what, nothing ain't happening, nothing ain't changing. You're still going through the same thing. But then one day you just happen to talk to one person that you didn't know, and you just happen to share it with that person, and that's the one person that give you the solution to your problem. One conversation solve your problem, open that door for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Inspire you. God bless you. I'm telling you, that's the power of a conversation. A one conversation could do a lot. I'm telling you, you could find your wife, you could find your business partner, you could find what? You could find a customer, you could find a supplier or distributor or contractor. And maybe I should say contracting. Yeah, a person who could give contracts. Yeah, all kind of opportunity could come out of one conversation. So think about that. Sometimes your next opportunity is one conversation of it. Real talk. So I just wanted to share that because, like I say, some people just look at these things and they downplay and just brush these things aside. The power of a conversation, the power of your perspective of something, the power of your story. So even today episode is everyone has a story worth telling. And I encouraging you to share your story, because you never know. Maybe your story is what exactly somebody been waiting to hear. You check? But same way, I had a episode I did entitled Your Voice Has Value. When I talk about a similar topic, but basically at that point in time they had different people, at least 3 to 5, going over that, going towards 10 people approach me, being as I do my podcast and I was consistent on it. People start approaching me, asking me questions about it, telling me that they've been looking into doing one too and thinking about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And then they start doubting themselves and they're checking by, should I do it? What I can even do? People can even want to hear about me talking about this and all these things. And like I say, I do that episode to as a form of encouragement, but also to give a rundown on how to set up or start a podcast. You check? And from that episode, I actually was requested to do a presentation in a meeting about that. Whereas I presented the same, a speech with the same title, basically covering the same thing. Let me say like this. I presented the same content, but I condensed it because, of course, the podcast is an hour and change, but I didn't have an hour and change to go present in a people meeting. Check. So you had to shrink it down to size. But yeah, that just goes to show you, even just that. Like, for sure, this podcast is a good example of what I'm saying. But like, even to that, like I say, I come on, I had a episode talking about, okay, your voice has value and why you should start sharing your story and why a podcast could be helpful for doing that. Like I say, after that, I was requested to speak on that topic. You check, so it could be the same for you. Maybe you got some type of healthy product that you just promote, or maybe you got some type of regimen, like some type of like process you just do that only you could do, or maybe something that you into that you could or willing to share. Share it because you'll be surprised. Maybe you start talking about some product you just do use that the help with like healthy gut and healthy content. Let me just say like that. Content about health and wellness, fitness and those things. And maybe because you start posting about that, somebody message you and tell you, hey, I having this event and I see you been talking about this topic. Would you be willing to come and speak at my event? You might tell yourself, by me no speaker. Why not about coming and speaking at the event? But you do it. Do it. Don't doubt yourself. Don't diminish yourself. Go and do it. You'll be surprised. That might be the experience that you've been waiting for in your life. But also, like I say, that might be the thing that open doors for you. You check, read that. So at that point, like I say, a new chapter unlocked. You'll be surprised how that one conversation could unlock new chapters for you. Like I say, maybe right now in your life, things rough. You're in a bad place, maybe financially, maybe even in different senses, emotionally, all kind of thing. And you don't know what to do. You don't know what you should do with yourself, what to do in life. And yeah, just checking this more kind of like encouragement. But anyways, still, point, unlocking new chapter. Maybe things rough for you right now. But you decide for yourself, like I say, you know what? I can start sharing this wider too. Even though I ain't no big millionaire, even though, I starting small, I doing a little thing, I can start sharing what I do. You'll be surprised. Like I say, whatever it is, like give me a topic. You drop a comment in the chat. Tell me what topic you think on when you think on a story that somebody could share. Like I say, maybe a fitness, but I still want to hear you in a comment. You leave a comment. Tell me, even after the video done, if you're watching in the playback, leave a comment. Tell me what you think is a good story. Yeah, but story example, I say that. But yeah, good story. Still, nonetheless. I would like you. Leave a comment. All eyes. Anyways, let me say, for instance, you decide, you know what, you want to lose some weight, and you decide you're going to record and document your weight loss journey. Cool. And you start sharing on your social media. Okay, you start here, you have this weight, and you start showing the process you're doing to lose the weight, what you're taking, the exercise you're doing, all these different things. And maybe after a few months, you start seeing results. Or maybe after 3 weeks, you start to see some loss after you weigh yourself. And then you stay consistent after a month and a half, 2 months. Maybe you're down 10 pounds or 20 pounds or however much you want to put in your example. And because of this journey, like I say, maybe a gym call you and say, hey, we having this event and we've been seeing what you've been doing on your social media and we like what you're doing and we want you come out and speak to the people at our event to give them some encouragement to take their weight loss journey seriously as well. Now you go out there, first of all, they pay you. Let me start there. Second of all, you go there, they maybe gonna give you stuff. Of course, you get a nice event, a nice experience because you get to meet and mingle with these people, have good conversations and this and that. Maybe you have a powerful conversation with somebody there, people there that they check in, what they want to talk to you about working with you or doing a project with you, and maybe you become the face of some company or whatnot. But then, yeah, like I say, you go, you speak, you encourage the other people there that hearing your story. So now they too look at you as a role model or a mentor or somebody that they could look up to, you know? And then, like I say, you go, you had this event with this gym, but then the gym self now calling you back. But then also, like I say, you meet people at the event that they checking, look, I want to sign this contract with you, $100,000, $1 million contract. And all because you decide, you know what? My story has value. My story is worth telling. A new chapter is unlocked. You check? Wait, I'm gonna tell you, a new chapter unlocked. You, like I say, sometimes your next opportunity is one conversation away, and yeah, you're doing things. I know you could do things too. That's why I say we, not me, not I. We doing things. Yeah, check. Handle your business, execute with excellence. And that's why, like I say, up to last week, I did some reflection about this podcast, and I even share some of my sentiments and feelings. And like I've been saying, I've been really thinking about this podcast a lot lately and how far I've come, over the past year plus. You know, I share a lot here, and I see how what I have shared has brought value. Like literally, people know me for my podcast in a sense, and promise you, not tooting my own horn, and trust me, there are a lot of people don't know nothing about all over podcasts, and we working on that, of course. But nah, but on a real, like, not toot my own horn, as humble as possible. Like, I know they got a lot of people that don't know how to do this, but I have realized that I have become known for this podcast to the point that for sure the people around me, whether my family, my friends, they already know Monday by you can really look for all about Monday because podcast day. Check. It's serious, like to the point, like even my mother sometimes she'll be checking like, yeah, checking, it's Monday's podcast day, so I ain't want to harass you and then checking, look, man, if you need something, let me know. I could plan myself, schedule myself. Check. But it's serious. Like people know, okay, Monday, podcast day. Even a good example, last week, in the last week, I was approached about coming to sessions this week. And the person tell me before I could even say that they tell me it's like a full week thing. And the person tell me before I say, yeah, I know Monday you won't be able to come because you have a podcast, but if anything, we could see about the rest of the week. And I check it like, so, I responded and they checking, yeah, no, but I like the consistency, so I want to, you know, like I respect that. So you do your thing, type vibe. And I check in like I feel you and I respect that same ways. But it's cool that, like I say, when you do something and you stay consistent to it, people see that you're serious about what you're doing. People will resonate to it and they respect it. They know, okay, look, this man about it. He ain't just trying a thing or saying he doing it and he ain't doing it, he about it. And he know what he doing. You check? Will respect it because they see your work ethic. They see what you put in. You check? Yeah, I'm telling you. And as like I said, my life with the podcast, with agriculture, like I just see it. Like people literally would contact me, checking, yeah, I was seeing this thing about agriculture or about this plant or about this thing, and I know you know about these things, so I say let me share it with you. Tell me what you think, or if you know about this, or and like I say, why? Because you create a name for yourself. That's the simplest way I could say it. It's like you're leaving a legacy. It's like people know, okay, when you think on a name, it's associated with this. You check? Yeah, but I could give you so much examples. Honestly, that make me think of my father. A legacy, leave a legacy self. That's what you want to do in life now. You want that, with whatever you're doing, that you do it to the best of your ability, that people see and recognize and respect. Like, by look, yeah, if you need welding done, this man is your man. If you need, anything, whatever it is you could think on, like maybe my example base might be a little limited, but whatever comes to mind when you think on leaving a legacy, you know, whether it's real estate, whether it's your business, like that's what it's about. Like you want that, like I say, maybe use a racer, maybe the race bikes or race cars and things. And you want that when people think and buy, okay, I want to go to bike race or why I got this problem with my bike, I need it fixed. You want them to think on you. Yeah. Like last week we talked about brand and brand awareness. I will tell you, like, you want that when people think on a computer, they think on Dell. You want that when people think on a phone, they think on Apple. You want that when people think on bleach, they think on Clorox. You want that when people think on cranberry juice, they think on Ocean Spray. You want that when people think on apple juice, they think on Mats. You want that when people think on, man, you name it, man, car, whatever to be. You want your brand to stand out, to stand apart. You want your name to mean something. What it's about. That's what it's all about. No? You want that while you're here and when you're gone. A legacy is there. Your name means something. You check real dark. That's what it's about now. Bye. Bye. Look, I talk a lot and I share a lot. We say, even on this podcast, I share a lot of my own experiences. I had people on, I interviewed, they share their stories as well. But like I say, they have many wonderful people who stories deserve to be heard too, you know, not because they celebrities or not because they nobody famous, but because they build something, because they do something, you know, because they creators, entrepreneurs, educators, somebody that making a difference, that doing something, trying to make a difference in the world. You check? And that's important. That's our story. You check? And yeah, that's why, like I said last week, I'm looking to do more interviews, this podcast, because yeah, I share my journey and I going to always share what going on with all of us. You check? But I feel like this could become a good platform where other people could share their story as well. And like I said, you'll be surprised how powerful that could be. You check? So yeah. Like I say, we're gonna be doing things. We're going to be having a lot more interviews coming up these next couple of months. And yeah, bottom line, we're going to make things happen on this podcast. For sure, for sure. You know, we we can do things. And like I said last week, yeah, I'm gonna start doing certain things to see about monetizing, getting some change in from the podcast because I ain't gonna lie, we got things we to pay for. Check. Every month I gotta pay for this platform. I have other tools and platforms that I use related to the podcast. So yeah, we gotta see how we can make it self-sustainable now. No? Like I said, last week I made it clear and I stress on the fact that when I started this podcast, it really was nothing to do with like income generation. I had no thought about making money off of this podcast at all. Real thought. Literally, like I said last week, like I said before, I just wanted an outlet. Real talk. Consider me like a radio host. Like when you're driving and you're listening to radio and the radio host just maybe ranting about things or maybe he might play music a little bit and then talk about different things and have interviews with different people. Kind of checking like I wanted my own radio show, if you will. And yeah, podcast is the way. Podcast is the new wave. So everybody doing podcasts now, I could tell you. Everybody want to if they ain't doing it yet. So yeah, like I say, I decided, you know what? I can start my own podcast and I'm so glad I did. I really am over the moon ecstatic that I decided to do this and start this because like I say, I grow so much. I grow so much since I started this. And like I said, I could see how I developed, how this podcast has developed. And like I said earlier in this episode, I see too how doing this has now made me like a thought leader in the podcast space as well. Like people literally to come to me and check in, yeah, I want to do a podcast. I see you doing podcasts, or you know, I want to do a podcast. I hear you doing podcasts, and I got this question. So yeah, to the point, honest to you, straight up. Be on the lookout for the podcast course coming just now. If you want to start your own podcast, wait, man. I walk in now. I don't even know. I walk in. I walk in on things. We got things coming. You check. So if you want to start your own podcast, we're gonna have a course for that coming. I walk in on the next one first, to be honest. But I already have the podcast course content put together. So it's just to record it, do it. You check. So yeah, podcast course coming, other courses, things going to be done. Like I was mentioning, might do some paraphernalia, merch, all over it, podcast merch. And yeah, just doing good things, but trying to do God's work. Yeah, what God put me here to do in a way that's pleasing to Him and service to you. You check it. So yeah, we're doing things, we're having conversations, and we advancing things. We focusing on growth, growing our community, growing our tribe, like I said, our team, you know, having good, like-minded, ambitious individuals around us. So yeah, just know good things, good things coming. And yeah, we working on it. And I know I want to ask you and encourage you. Firstly, let me ask you, what is your story? I'm curious to know. Could leave a comment, share with me what your story is. I want to know. Okay? What lessons have you learned? What have you overcome? You know? Think about who could benefit from hearing your journey. And like I say, I want to encourage you not to hide your experiences. Because like I say, you'll be surprised. Somebody else may need exactly what you have learned or what you have shared. That might be exactly what they needed to hear, what they've been waiting to hear. Real talk, you know? Like I say, a story isn't only for you, It might be the encouragement that someone else has been praying for. Check. So, in closing, I want to say we all come from different backgrounds. We've all made mistakes. We've all had victories. But one thing we all have in common is that our experiences can help someone else. You check? So don't hide. Don't hide your story. Share it. Everyone has a story worth telling. Check. So yeah, that's all I have for you on that topic for today. So I gotta start closing out. Today we closing early. But yeah, I could say for sure I'm excited about where this podcast is going. Over the coming weeks and months, you're gonna hear more voices, more perspectives, more stories here on this podcast. And like I say, I personally excited to see where it goes and what comes out of it. You know? And yeah, I could tell you I have an interview planned for 2 weeks from now. So not next week, but the week after. So that they are done line up, set in stone to check. And don't worry, I can give you some more information coming soon, you know. But yeah, we working. I working on things and I can really work on getting some good quality people here on, good stories, good things for you to learn and hear about. And yeah, like I say, share value, allow them to share their story and share what they're doing and get out there and get more awareness and more reach and more viewership. And like I say, you can get to hear what they're doing and maybe gain more insight on those topics and things too. And win-win for everybody. Win-win-win. All I do is win. All we do is win. Yeah, all we doing is winning now. Even though things might look and seem difficult and tumultuous, all we doing is winning now. The devil will be busy. But what? It's only when the finish line is right there. It's only when your blessings, when look, you ever like think on like you hungry, yeah, in vision. You're hungry, you walking around, you don't know where you're gonna get food. And you're walking and at the end of that road have a basket of fruits, a big plate of food, and then a dessert pie. Everything, full course meal, appetizer, main course, dessert, good. And walking down this road, hunger killing you. And right when you may be 10 feet away from the food around the corner, something stop you. Or whether it be something external, like somebody come and tell you, hey, where you going, or whatever. Or maybe you yourself in your mind tell yourself, I ain't make no sense I go no farther down this road, but ain't got nothing down this road for me, but then you turn around and the food were right there. That's how the devil be now. Devil busy and he does try his best to deter you from your blessings. You check? So don't leave yourself get swayed and swindled out of your blessings. Let me say like that. You check? But yeah, like I say, good things coming. We're doing good things. Like I keep telling her, we doing God's work now. Trying to stay consistent. We're trying to make sure everything going copacetic, positive. My boy from the other say, yeah, positive. Check, not positive, positive. Yeah, check it. Okay, God. But anyways. Yeah, like I said, though, interview coming soon. Be on the lookout for that promo. And like I say, working on some stuff on the back end. Got some courses for sure. What's an AI course coming soon. And then after that, got a podcast course. We working. I got some things I working on. And we doing good things. God bless. We check. And yeah, yeah. Here's what we tell you. Don't underestimate the value of your journey. You know, somebody else's breakthrough may begin with your story. You know, think on a time when you went to an event and that person that was presenting was so inspiring that it make you went home and do something you've been waiting or wanting to do. Yeah, the same concept. That could be you. You just gotta start somewhere. So keep learning, keep growing, keep sharing. And as I always tell you, execute with excellence. That's what we're doing. You know, we making sure we execute it. So let me ask you one last question on this episode. And I really want you to leave a comment. Like I say, whether you're watching here live now or you're watching the playback, I want you to comment. Comment in the chat. Comment in the box. If I invited you onto this podcast today and gave you 30 minutes, let me say, to tell your story, what would you want people to remember after they left the conversation? What would you talk about? Check, think about it. Think about it. I guess you leave a comment. I want to know. So, yeah, my people, like I say, today was episode 65. We really going places now. 65 now. One thing though, the month almost done, the year is flying. Flying. We don't halfway through the year already. We're going into August just now. It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah. But God is good and He with us all the time. And yeah, all we gotta do is keep pushing, keep doing what we're doing, and our breakthrough can come too. Yours, mine, all of us. Everything, everything God have in store is on the way. We just have to stay diligent, trust in that, because we might reach close and then just turn around. So let's not do that. Let's make sure that we get all that's in store for us, all the blessings and all the positivity that is waiting for us around the corner. We have to put ourselves in position to be ready to receive it. Check. Yeah, yeah. So do that for yourself. God bless. But yeah, like I say, we're doing things, and we're going to continue to do things. And like I say, interview coming soon. Good stuff. Business, legal, financial. Yeah, 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 yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Just know, good stuff coming. Yeah. So you stay blessed, my people. And yeah, as you know, every week we here with another episode. Today was 65. Every Monday, faithfully, we here with it on the All Over It podcast. Yeah, you know, we uncovering it all every week faithfully. We doing what we got to do. You check. So yeah, people, I will keep doing what I got to do. I will keep showing up here for you. And no matter what, I wish you a blessed, blessed week ahead. And I hope it goes productively. And as usual, you could catch me here again next week for another one where we going to uncover it all once again. Blessings, Mimi. Blessings. Thanks for joining. Alone. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, for sure, I don't know. Bless up. I'll probably be here next week again for sure. Consistency is key, and I am that. And like I say, how to wrap it up here now. I wish you a blessed week ahead, and I can catch you here again next week. We're gonna have another good one. And like I say, week after next, we have an interview. And trust me, it's gonna be a good one. You're gonna want to miss it too. Other than that, my people, I wish you a blessed night. Sleep well, and catch you here again next week. Big up yourself.